Hello there, Trevor here from Double Bill Movies. Right, got yet another big screen review for you. Now recently I was asked by one of my subscribers to do a review for the 4K of Bridge on the River Kwai, so I have done. This is quite a nice release, just from Sony, just a simple slipcover. There was, I think, a few exclusive slipcovers and steelbooks available. Now, I used to own this. This is actually my brother's now because I gave it to him. But this is the steelbook for the Blu-ray. I also used to own this Blu-ray. And part of the reason I have this means I can show it to you. So let's see, there's the front. And in the back the bridge has been destroyed, but the disc in there was exactly the same one as in that white slipped Sony one I showed you earlier. Funny enough, it wasn't until I opened this up to watch it that I realised, oops, the case is broken. This also has exactly the same disc, so I didn't need to borrow my brother's version of the film. I could have done my picture comparisons from that. Comes with a digital download, but I don't do that anymore. So yes, released in 1957. It had a budget of about $3 million and grossed about $27 million worldwide. It was based on a novel by Pierre Boulet, a French author who wrote a book in 1952. Now, you may be led to believe that this is a true story. The only true aspect of the Bridge on the River Kwai movie and book is basically that the bridge existed and was built by POWs, but all the characters in the film are either fictional or loosely based on an actual person in history. So starring Alec Guinness, William Holden and Jack Hawkins, plus a plethora of other great actors. Alec Guinness plays Major Nicholson, and he seems to outwit the Japanese and get them to do what he wants them to do, which I think in reality just would not have been the case. And then William Holden plays an American. Now, no disrespect to any Americans, I think this was basically done to please the American audience, because it's basically a British movie, but they want to appeal to a wider audience, so they've put a really good American character in there. I do like what William's character does. And then Jack Hawkins plays basically an agent from what he called Force 316. Now, whenever I come across a squadron or a force or something, or a regiment in a movie, I tend to look them up and see if they're real. Now, Force 316 is actually based on the real life outfit of Force 136. And they were a Far Eastern branch of the SOE, Special Operations Executive outfit, and they took part in all sorts of things, sabotage, intelligence, and this kind of thing. But looking through the information that I could find on Force 136, there's no mention of the bridge over the River Kwai. So you've got a few elements there that tie it to reality. Yeah, it's a good film. I really enjoy it. And actually, I must have seen another film where I've seen some more brutal aspects of how the POWs were treated by the Japanese, because I had memories of it being more brutal than it was. Now, obviously, putting Nicholson into the hot box, you know, that's pretty brutal, making him suffer in the heat, and also his other officers. They were in a separate one, and that, you know, that happens a few times. That's obviously quite brutal. But I've played various computer games. Medal of Honor Rising Sun, that has a lot of aspects of the Burma campaign in it, and that's quite brutal to play. So maybe I've sort of mixed some of those in, because there's quite a few train scenes and things there. I mean, it does pick on, I guess, the bridge on the River Kwai. So the bridge is real. It wasn't wooden, like you see in the film. There are pictures of it, and the Japanese did finish it off, and, you know, I think it did sort of complete the railway, but not until after the war, I think. So anyway, let's have a look at some images, shall we? Okay, so let's have a look at some of these images. Let's start with the 4K ones. Now this shot is basically a train going over us, so we're seeing the undercarriage of it. So that's why it looks so dark. It's not night time. There we go, CinemaScope. So that is again partly why the image is not amazing. It is nice, but not amazing. As you can see, this view is slightly different to my usual from the side view, because it's a wide 2:3:5 aspect ratio. I can nudge my screen up to the bottom of the image. As you can see, there's a gap between the top of the image and where the screen drops down from, and that's obviously the masking, but I've just brought the screen up to hide the bottom one to frame it better. I can sit in the middle for this because I don't cast a shadow like I do when it's a 1:8:5 or a 1:7:8 aspect ratio. This shot to me has a lot more natural colours than the Blu-ray. So this is Commander Saito, who actually in real life, Arasabayu Saito was actually the second in command, as I think I said, and he was actually respected by the prisoners. He wasn't like the man depicted in this film. But that is the medic officer, and he's trying to persuade Saito to be a bit more lenient with Major Nichols. The real life Major Nichols was actually a Philip Tusi, who was nothing like the man that Alec Guinness portrayed in the film. He did everything he could to stop the construction of the bridge, which actually was completed in 1943, but then bombed the Allied forces and partly destroyed. So now this scene, so in the middle is William Holden, and he basically escapes the prison, one of the only people that does, and because they're on an island apparently, so there's basically no escape, but he escapes and he finds some villagers, and they help nurse him back to full health because he got in quite a state on his run from the prison. And this is so on the left is Jack Hawkins' character, and on the right is some other higher ranking officer in the fictional force 316, and he's been sort of duped into going back to the prison that he's just escaped from. There's quite a funny scene, and it plays out really well. But like I said, this was loosely based on the real Force 136. And there we go. There's the star of the film, the bridge itself. Now I think some of it would have been wood, but just to get the pilings constructed, but the actual bridge itself was made out of iron girders and whatnot, or metal construction, and concrete or boulder kind of construction for the piles. But this looks lovely for the film, and it serves well that they get to blow this up rather than a real one. So there we go. As you can see, I'll come back. There we go. So as you can see here, the colours are much more intense on the Blu-ray. Now, in some places I felt that when I was taking these images anyway, I felt that the colours were perhaps a bit more accurate on the Blu-ray. But were they the colours intended by the filmmakers? Basically, when you see a 4K, the colours are usually done to the specification of the cinematographer or the director or whatever, and you're then seeing it in the colour palette you're supposed to see it in, not one that's just been nicely colour corrected or colour graded for a Blu-ray release. I've said many times before that the colours on Blu-ray discs are wrong, and there's the CinemaScope one. Their skin tones look a lot more red, and I think that's when you see it on the 4K and they don't look quite as red, they look more normal, just heavily tanned. That looks a bit nicer maybe, but again, was it the actual intended look for the film? I don't think so. But and this one, the colours are just a bit too saturated for me. They're just a little bit too red in the skin, and you know, not to say some people don't look like that, but for film purposes, yeah. But the Blu-ray doesn't look horrendous, you know. If you've got the Blu-ray and you're wondering, do I need to upgrade? Maybe you don't. But if you prefer the colour palette of what you're seeing from the 4K, then yes, definitely upgrade. Oops. Now, I don't know why this one came out blurry. I guess I moved when I took the picture. But there you go, it's the same image. I won't zoom in on it because it would look a bit weird for your eyes. Then last of all, and there you go, again, there's a lot more red in the bridge. And I don't think it looks quite as normal or natural. We'll go back to the other one as that. If you think of a extremely bright, hot, sunny day, to me that is a little bit more accurate. But there you go. Quite a startling difference, as I said, that yeah, maybe in some places the Blu-ray looks more accurate, but I think there's a better consistency in the colour palette from the 4K. It definitely looked nice on my screen. It didn't look amazing. That could just be the fact it's CinemaScope. But overall, yes, it's a lovely 4K. It's definitely worth getting. But if you prefer the colours of the Blu-ray, then stick with your Blu-ray. Don't bother upgrading. The Blu-ray image is big enough anyway, so if you have a projector and you're blowing it up to, well, I'm blowing up 4 times the size of my TV, and they both look great, so, you know, just stick with the Blu-ray. But anyway, give us a thumbs up if you like that review, and until the next one, take it easy.